Good morning, everybody. Pastor Stitch, Narrow Path Christian Church, BC, Bay City, Michigan. Welcome to the Biker Devotional. This morning, as I was preparing myself to share with you guys, I was going to talk about one portion of Scripture, and as I'm reading it this morning and talking to God, I went back and I just read a little bit before and after, which I always do when it comes to the verses. Make sure I've got my head screwed on straight and I know the context and all of that. And as I was reading some of the scripture before, I realized it's probably more important that I talk about this piece than the other. The other piece, while very important to me in my life currently right now, which had to do with trusting God and loving God. And no, I'm not in a terrible place. It's a thing that God and I are working on together right now. Learning to trust Him in every area. Not just in the singulars, but in all of it. And while I thought I was doing well in those areas, God's showing me that I can do much better. Grateful for that. Difficult when God shows you areas you can change in, right? But difficult in good ways, because you know what the outcome can be if you've worked the process in any length of time at all. Anyway, I was reading, and in 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, it says, "There is no fear in love. Instead, perfect love drives out fear, because fear involves punishment. So the one who fears has not reached perfection in love. We love because He first loved us." It's a powerful portion of Scripture, and as I was reading it this morning, God opened something to me that I hadn't ever noticed before. There is no fear in love. Instead, perfect love drives out fear. So you can't have fear if you have love. And if you have fear, then you're not perfected in love. But there is this piece in the middle, because fear involves punishment. I really just always skipped over that. And I realized something. In the translation of that, while it doesn't read necessarily wrong, it doesn't read well. Because fear involves punishment is the way this translation reads it. Fear is punishment. Or fear has its own punishment is another way to translate that. Or fear is the punishment. God goes on, or John goes on to say, if anyone says, "I love God," yet hates his brother, he is a liar. For the person who does not love his brother who he sees cannot love the God he has not seen. And we have this in common, this command from Him. The one who loves God must also love his brothers. So powerful to think about the fact that if I'm not loving God, I'm going to be fearful. And that's the punishment. If I'm not loving my brother, I'm fearful. And that's the punishment. And I had never thought about it before, but isn't that so true? I don't trust my brother, so I'm afraid of what the outcome might be. And as I'm afraid of the outcome, then I trust less. And it's a vicious cycle. But when I trust my brother, which, by the way, trust is part of love, right? When I trust my brother, I don't have any fear about the outcome because I trust him to follow through. It's an interesting thought for me today. Just maybe it might challenge you as well. If you're afraid, how are you loving God and how are you loving others? Because it may be the fact that that's the reason you're afraid. It's a powerful thought for me today. I'm going to be dwelling on it all day. I hope it challenged you. I love you all. I truly do. And I hope you have a great day.